It is the year 1785, and it's a gloomy, rainy day. The village of lost souls is quiet, but in the Sterling mansion, a child is waiting to be born. Mrs. Sterling has been in labor for 6 hours, and her husband, Ethan Sterling, wishes he could ease his wife's pain. "Ah! Get her out!" Beatrice Sterling screams as she pushes with all her might. Ethan wipes her forehead with a cloth, whispering encouraging words in her ear. "You've got this, darling." Meanwhile, the Sterling brothers wait outside, waiting for their sister to be born. When they found out the gender could potentially be a girl, they were all elated. Everyone couldn't wait to see the new princess. After another 3 hours of labor, the doctor could see the baby's head. "Okay, Mrs. Sterling, one more push and she will be out," he informed her. With a final push, Beatrice Sterling then heard the beautiful cry of her baby. Beatrice began to cry as she saw her beautiful baby. "It's a girl," the doctor claimed as he wrapped her baby in a pink blanket. Beatrice outstretched her arms, wanting to hold her precious girl. "She is so beautiful," she sobbed as she cradled her baby. Ethan was speechless. He cried as he watched his wife hold their daughter. He always wanted a daughter to spoil, but when they got around to their third son, they became worried. Beatrice handed her baby girl to Ethan. She couldn't take her eyes off her. "Mrs. and Mr. Sterling, we need to weigh her and get her clean." With much reluctance, Ethan handed his baby girl to the doctor. They had their doctor who had birthed all their children. "Let the boys in," Beatrice demanded eagerly for them to finally meet their baby sister. Just then, 4 other footsteps could be heard as the boys were racing to get to their baby sister first. They stopped by the bed where their mother was lying down, empty-handed. "Where is she?" Asher asked as he searched up and down looking for the new baby. "She will be back. The doctor must check her first to make sure she is healthy," Beatrice says, looking at each of her children. Finally, no longer would she be the only girl, and now she has her princess. Beatrice loved all her children, but she always knew that one day she would want a daughter. So when she and Ethan decided to try for one more, and they found out from a fortune teller that they could be having a girl, they were over the moon. The doctor returned with the small baby. Beatrice quickly snatched her baby back, feeling empty when she was not with her. The newborn was wide awake as she gazed at her mother with her gold eyes. The boys gathered around their mother, staring at the baby in awe. "What will you call her, Mama?" Orion asked. Beatrice gazed at her husband, who gave her a soft smile. "Her name is Hazel Rosalind Sterling." 2 months later. 2 months had passed since Beatrice Sterling gave birth to her daughter. The past months had been eye-opening, as baby Hazel was far superior for her age. She had already began to walk and was now able to say Mama. Beatrice Sterling was captivated by her baby girl, she always learning something new about her daughter. It was a dark, misty day as the heavy rain began to pour down. Ethan Sterling and Beatrice Sterling had a meeting to attend, so the children would be well looked after by the maids. It was hard for Beatrice to leave her children behind, but she knew she still had to support her husband. The wind blew harder as she climbed into the awaiting carriage, her husband following behind her. She could see her 5 sons waiting by the mansion door. She blew them kisses from the carriage. Baby Hazel was asleep in one of the maid's arms. It took everything out of Beatrice to not run out of the carriage and grab her baby girl. When everything was situated, they began to take off towards the Deadly Sins mansion. Beatrice watched as her children waved goodbye until she could no longer see them. An hour passed as Mr. and Mrs. Sterling were chatting away. They had a lovely dinner, and now guests were sipping on some blood as they danced the night away. The meeting was short and sweet, and mainly about how they could improve the village. Suddenly, the Sterling coachman came running into the party with a worrisome expression. "Mr. Sterling, sir, we have some urgent news," the coachman panted out due to him running. "Well, out with it then," Ethan spat out, getting impatient. Beatrice was getting anxious by the second. "Sir, one of the maids has sent me a message," he stuttered. "It seems as if baby Hazel has fallen ill," he continues hysterically. Beatrice raced out the mansion, her husband shouting orders. Beatrice became numb as she quickly hopped in the carriage. Ethan hopped in after, and the coachman quickly took off. The whole way, Beatrice didn't say a word. The only thing she could do was pray. "Beatrice, darling, I'm sure she will be fine. Please do not worry," Ethan pleads, trying to comfort his wife. Beatrice continued to stare at nothing as they raced so fast to the mansion. Before the coachman could stop the carriage, Beatrice flew out, and if she wasn't a vampire, she surely would have lost a leg. Beatrice slammed the door open, her blonde hair flying behind her. "Where is she?" she screamed. The maid Beatrice came out with a pale Hazel. Beatrice scooped her baby from the maid's arms. She cried silent tears as she rocked the sickly baby back and forth. "Call the doctor, now!" Ethan roared in anger as he watched his wife hold on to his daughter tightly. After 30 minutes, the doctor arrived, taking just one look at the baby. "Lie her down quickly," he urged. He had seen this before. It was not common, but when it did occur, he knew they needed to be quick. Beatrice reluctantly put the baby down on her back, her lips black with open sores. Beatrice didn't care, she continued to kiss the child's face. "Stay back, it's contagious," Dr. Albright warned as he began to inject a medicine into the baby. Hazel let out a whimper, and all Beatrice wanted to do was comfort her. Hazel began to violently throw up blood as Dr. Albright continued to inject medicine into her system. Beatrice grew hysterical. "What's happening to my baby?" It was then Dr. Albright advised them to leave the room. Beatrice scratched and clawed at her husband. "Yield at once, Beatrice. She will be fine. Albright will take care of her." Ethan tried to get through to his wife as she struggled in his arms. Kicking and screaming, Beatrice just wanted to be near her baby. As the hours passed, Beatrice finally calmed down, but she was pacing back and forth. Ethan had found out that his sons were taken to their grandparents' house so they would not get infected. It had been a long night when finally Dr. Albright came out of the room. Beatrice shot up first. "It seems that Hazel has come down with the dark plague," Albright explained solemnly. Beatrice let out a strangled cry as Ethan held her in his arms, wanting the doctor to continue. "She is stable for now, but we will see how well she can cope from this. Her body is small and frail." Albright continued, truly feeling sorry for the couple. He knew that it was a low chance that she would survive this, but he didn't tell them that. Beatrice could not take any more as she rushed in the room. Baby Hazel was wrapped in a blanket, and she looked worse than before. Beatrice examined her baby. She had black blisters all over, and she was so pale. She looked dead, but Beatrice could see her chest moving up and down. Ethan and Dr. Albright came back into the room, watching Beatrice rocking the sickly baby. "I would advise you two to stay away from her. This disease is rather dangerous and contagious," Albright warned as he saw Beatrice kiss the baby. "I do not care. I will be right by her side until she is better," Beatrice sneered. There was so much determination in her eyes. In that moment, Ethan found that he loved his wife even more. 3 days later. "Be careful, kids," Beatrice screamed out to her sons. She sat on the porch watching her children race around the green grass. Baby Hazel was beside her, playing with her toys. The past 3 days were very stressful. But on the third day, Hazel woke up with a huge smile on her face, looking completely healthy. It warmed Beatrice's heart to know that her baby girl was finally better. If she had lost her daughter, the thought scared her. She sighed, sipping on some warm animal blood. She preferred drinking from animals rather than humans. Beatrice called Astrid's name. "Hazel, baby, it's time for your medicine." But when she called her name, the young girl didn't even glance her way. Concerned, Beatrice tried again. "Hazel, darling." But still, she was busy playing with her toys. Beatrice tapped Hazel, and instantly she gazed at her mother with a huge smile. But Beatrice was still in shock, so she put it to the test. "Samael, darling, call your sister from where you are," she yelled from the porch. Hazel was now placed on her lap facing her as her big brother called her name. "Astrid, baby sister," he screamed as loud as he could, but she never turned her head. Instantly, Beatrice knew. Something was wrong. She quickly told her children to stay outside. She grabbed Hazel, making her way to her husband, who was in his office doing work. She sent Beatrice the maid, who always looked after the children outside, to watch the boys. She held Hazel close to her body as she raised to her husband. She threw open the dark oak doors and saw her husband at his desk. "Beatrice, what is it?" he asked, looking at his wife's worried face. "Ethan, I want you to call Hazel. While she is looking at me," she demanded him. Confused, he did as she said. "Hazel, baby girl." But the baby continued gurgling happily in her mother's arms. Beatrice began to shake. "Ethan, call Dr. Albright, now!" 30 minutes later, Dr. Albright came rushing into the room. "Doctor, something is wrong with Hazel," Beatrice rushed out. She handed the baby to the awaiting hands of the doctor. Albright bounced the baby up and down, happy to see her healthy once again. "I will examine her," he declared, and he did a bunch of tests checking her heart, skin, nose, and eyes. But when it came to the hearing test, he grew concerned. Beatrice anxiously watched from the corner. Albright noticed a dark fluid leaking from the baby's ears. "Have any of you noticed that her ears are, well, infected?" he questioned the couple. Beatrice looked to her husband and they both shook their heads in guilt. "Doctor, when I was outside watching the children play, I noticed something," Beatrice said, speaking up. Albright waited for her to continue. "I called her name, but she would not face me." Beatrice held back a sob as she watched her baby play with Dr. Albright's pen. Curious, Albright began to snap his fingers behind the baby's head. The baby continued playing with the pen, as if she was ignoring him. With a frown, he asked Beatrice to call Hazel from where she was standing in the corner, but the reaction was still the same. Albright knew what this was. Beatrice went to grab her baby. "Doctor, what is wrong with her?" Mrs. Sterling cries out hysterically as she cradles her baby girl in her arms. "Calm down, dear. I'm sure everything is fine," Mr. Sterling whispers, trying to soothe his wife. "Mr. and Mrs. Sterling, it would appear that your baby is deaf," Albright declared. He truly felt sorry for the couple. Just then, Mrs. Sterling collapses to the floor. Ethan quickly grabs his fallen wife and his baby girl. "How can that be?" His voice cracked with sadness. "Due to the disease she contracted, it seems that it took away her hearing," Albright answered. Ethan placed his unconscious wife on the leather sofa. He picked up his daughter, who was yawning as she placed her tiny head against his chest. "Well, how can we fix this?" Ethan asked, determined he would do anything to bring his daughter's hearing back. Albright just frowned as he listened to Ethan's question. "Well, for starters, you need to learn sign language, as does she." He stated the obvious. Just because the child could not hear does not mean she is broken, he thought, but did not say out loud. Ethan did not like the sound of that. "A deaf vampire is frowned upon," he stated. "They would have to keep this a secret from the world. This could ruin their reputation. Whatever you and your wife decide, it's your decision." Suddenly, Ethan noticed his daughter was glowing. A fiery glow surrounded her whole body. It was so bright it was hard to see. Hazel continued to sleep away as if nothing was happening. Ethan laid her down and glanced at Dr. Albright. "Holy shit, it can't be," Albright muttered under his breath. "What is it, doctor?" he questioned as he watched his daughter continue to glow. "Well, Mr. Sterling, it would appear that your daughter has the power of a white witch. Hazel Pove." "Seriously, Miss Sterling, you can't keep doing this," the fat, bald principal says from his desk. I roll my eyes. I could care less what he has to say. I continue to inspect my nails. "Miss Sterling, if you keep this up, I may have to expel you." I get excited. That means I can finally leave this rotten place. "One last chance, Miss Sterling, and you are out of this school." He tries to act strict, but I simply smirk. Okay, so I had a little fun during chemistry class, almost catching the whole room on fire. With a shrug, I hop out of the chair and out the hideous office. But not before I flick my wrist, adding a clear goo to Principal Vixen's seat. I run my fingers through my soft brown mane. I hate Nordstrom Bones High School. The whole school is a joke. I take out my hearing aids, relishing in the silence. When my parents found out I was deaf, they made me attend boarding school, and it was 4 hours away from home. Growing up, I always had training so that I could control my powers, and let's just say, it's not easy. I remember the day I left home. Literally, my mother was sobbing. "My beautiful daughter, you better call me or else." I roll my eyes. My mother was always dramatic. My mother holds onto me tightly, and I rub her back as she sobs. Easing her distress with some concentration, I send a calming aura over her body. My father stands looking at me from the front of the carriage. "Remember what I told you, Hazel. No using your powers unless it's necessary." I read my father's lips in annoyance. I miss my home, but despite that, I am still angry with my parents. They made me leave, not even getting my consent first. At least my brother Orion is here with me. I see my older brother leaning against my locker. Walking up to him, he smirks before signing to me. "Got into trouble once again, little sister," he signs, holding back a laugh. I shrug my shoulders. "Stop signing to me," I snap at him. I look around, making sure no one is watching us. Orion puts up his hand in a surrender motion, still wearing a stupid smirk. No one knows I am deaf except for Principal Sterling and my brother, of course. My father specifically told me I needed to keep my hearing aids on at all times. I was not allowed to use sign language. When I was younger, I received speech therapy. But my voice was different than usual. My voice was rather deep for a girl, and my father hated it. But there is nothing I can do. I've never heard the sound of my voice before. I have 5 brothers, but I was extremely close to my brother Orion. My other brothers Asher, Finn, Cole, and Blair all went to a different school. I sigh, leaning against my brown, dented locker. I watch in disgust as 2 fairies make out across the hallway. You see, Nostrum Bones High School is a school for the weird kids. Basically, you get dumped here if you are a supernatural or possess some weird power. So here we have all types of creatures. Fairies, werewolves, elves, you name it. Suddenly, I could feel the floor vibrating. I quickly put my hearing aids on and look down the hall. A bunch of girls are running out of the building as a black car pulls up. Me and my brother face each other before we follow the crowd of hysterical girls. We pushed our way to the front. Some werewolf girl snapped at me. I roll my eyes. The car door opens and out comes a tall, lean guy with pale blonde hair. The crowd of girls starts screaming. I hold my head, getting a headache, tempted to take my hearing aids off again. I watch the pale blonde guy talk to some man with dark shades on. I examine him some more. I could tell he is a vampire due to his being bright red. As if feeling my eyes on him, he glances my way. It was then I noticed one of his eyes were red and the other was gold. He sends a soft smile my way before facing the guy with shades again. My eyes grow wide. Did he really smile at me? Nah, he probably was looking at someone behind me. Bored, I grab my brother who was flirting with some elf and make my way back inside the building. Hey, I was in the middle of something, Orion scowls at me. I smirk at him, not even caring. The new guy finally walks in with the crowd of girls following behind him. As if recognizing me, he walks up to me with a too happy grin. Hello, beautiful. I am Rowan, his large hand out. I stare at him as if he had two heads. Is this guy insane? Right as I was about to shake his hand, my hand started glowing. Recap. Right as I was about to shake his hand, my hand started glowing. I instantly put my hand behind my back. I stare at the curious blonde guy, and he examines me as well. This is getting awkward. Thank goodness my brother comes in to save me. Hazel, we, gotta go. Orion tugs my hand, and I follow without acknowledging the blonde guy. I turn my head back to see him still gazing at me with puppy dog eyes. With an eye roll and a smirk, I follow my brother to the lunchroom. Orion pushes me into a corner of the lunchroom. He forces my head up so I'm looking at his lips. What the hell was that about? He says, clenching his teeth in frustration. I shrug my shoulders. My powers have a mind of its own, I say in my rather low voice. It's the truth, though. It's like I have control, but then suddenly I no longer have control. Orion continues lecturing me, and I pay no mind gazing around the lunchroom. I notice the blonde guy walk in. It seems as if he's looking for someone. When he stops looking around in long strides, he walks to some werewolf at a table. Curious, I gaze at them in concentration. Using my energy, I force my way into their conversation. Now I can hear what they are saying in my head. It's such a blessing having powers. I focus in on their hushed voices. You promised me she would remember. The blonde-haired guy sounds rather desperate, as if he is yearning for something. She will, just give it time. I wonder who they are talking about. Suddenly, Orion hits me on my head. Hazel, stop being nosy and listen to what I'm telling you. I frown in annoyance. I hate when Orion talks to me as if I'm a child. Whatever, Orion, I promise to be more careful with my powers, I say, crossing my fingers behind my back. Good, Orion sighs with relief. I start feeling tired, so I wave goodbye to my brother and walk to my dorm. The walk to my dorm is rather quick. Nordstrom Bones High School isn't your typical school. It reeks of expensive crap that if you peer through the glass windows, you would see your face clearly. Opening up my dorm room, I rush to my fluffy bed. I don't share a room with any since I'm different, whatever the hell that means. I've always been unique, is what my mother told me. When I lost my hearing, my dad was sort of different. He wasn't as loving, and he always seemed disappointed in me. No one truly knows how I caught the dark plague. My father suspected it was someone who worked in the mansion. From then on, my food was always checked just to make sure it was not poisoned. I sighed deeply before walking to my desk that had a mirror. I gazed at my unruly appearance. My brunette hair was big and curly, and my eyelashes were long, making me look more awake. My eyes were bright gold and attentive. I always thought they were my best feature. I always wore my hair down due to my ears having a dark marking on them. That was the effect of contracting the dark plague, and to be honest, I hated it. My fingers start to burn, and I feel a fiery temptation. I form a fiery ball into my palms and start to admire it. For a human, they would probably burn their fingers off. But to me, it was second nature. I always enjoyed playing with my powers. I always knew I could do more, but to what extent? Suddenly, I hear a knock on my door and I frown. I don't usually have visitors, and if I do, it's always my brother Orion, but he has a key. I clear away the ball of light and rush to the door, but when I open it up, it's not who I expected. Would you like to be my rose princess? Recap. Would you like to be my rose princess? There stood Rowan with a blood rose in his long, slender fingers. I was trying so hard not to bust out laughing. Was this guy serious? Listen, dude, I'm not interested in your games, so if you'll excuse me. I try to shut the door, but he sticks his foot out, stopping me. How is it that you don't recognize me? The moment I saw you, I knew you were my Hazel. I roll my eyes, annoyed, but when looking at his face, I could tell he was not joking. Look, maybe you have the wrong girl, but I don't know who you are, I say candidly. I stare at his hurt expression, confused, although his face seemed awfully familiar. You may not remember now, but I will make you remember, because what we had was special. I see a deep longing in his eyes, and I start to feel a jittery sensation at his words. He stares at me as one of his hands cups my heart-shaped face. I don't know what to do with my body, so I just stand there, frozen. A heat force passes through my body, and suddenly I feel hot. It's weird, I've never had this reaction before. Suddenly, Rowan removes his hand from my face, and I feel empty without his touch. I will give you space for now, but just so you know, I will be waiting, he says before walking away. I watch his tall, lean form as he walks down the hall. I stand there for a while before I finally shut my door. Well, that was a weird altercation. My ears start to burn and leak a dark liquid. The pain is all too much, and I hold onto my head, willing the atrocious pain to stop. This is another effect of the dark plague. From time to time, my ears will leak this dark, ashy liquid. Once the leakage stops, I clean it with alcohol, and I wait a while before putting my hearing aids back on. When my hearing aids are not on, the world is silent, but the vibrations underneath my feet notify me of my surroundings. The pain has dulled down a bit, but I decide to take some pain medication. Lying against my bed, I stare off into another dimension. My eyes slowly start to get heavy, and I decide a nap is well needed. I drift off into a comfortable sleep. "Come on, Hazel, keep up!" a mellow voice screams from in front of me. We are out in our favorite valley enjoying the sun. "Rowan, slow down," I stutter, before slamming into his back due to me running fast. Rowan grabs me into his delicate arms. He pushes my brown hair behind my ear. "You lost one of your hearing aids," he frowns and starts looking for it. I didn't even notice one was missing. Whenever me and Rowan play together, I just follow his vibrations. I take out the one hearing aid I still have and put it into my dress pocket. It's silent now, but the breeze and the trees remind me I am still alive. Rowan has stopped looking for my hearing aid, and he places my tiny fingers against his mouth. "My Hazel, can you feel my lips?" he says, and I focus on his mouth. He places light kisses on my fingertips, and it feels so ticklish I let out a giggle. He sends me a gentle smile, gazing at me as if I might disappear. We are 14, and we've literally done everything together. Me and Rowan are alike in a way, because he is blind in one eye. My beautiful Hazel, never forget me or my love. I wake up in fright. My body was covered in sweat. That dream was so real. Why does it feel like I've known Rowan my whole life? Shaking my head, I decide to take a shower to clear my head and thoughts. Should I trust Rowan? The next day. Don't forget, we'll be taking a quiz next week, so study hard. I roll my eyes as class was finished. I hated school in general. Packing up my stuff quickly from the corner of my eye, I see Rowan walking towards me. I quicken my pace and race out of the classroom before he could approach me. I sigh in relief when I no longer see him. My stomach growls and the craving for blood started. I could feel my fangs throbbing with hunger, and I quickly entered the cafeteria. I decided to just get a bottle of blood from the vending machines, but when I entered, $2, my food didn't come out. Shit, I mutter, kicking the stupid machine in anger. I pound on the machine, willing for my food to drop out, but to no avail. Fighting machines now, are we? I hear a deep voice behind me. Surprised, Rowan stands there with his arms crossed. Why are you stalking me? I snap at him. My hunger pains were only getting stronger. Here, my love. He hands me a bottle of O-negative blood. I quickly snatch the bottle from his hands and rip it open. I greedily drink the fluid, and Rowan watches me in amusement. Shrugging, I continue to chug the whole bottle, and when I'm done, I place it back into his hands. Thanks for the blood. I make my way to leave, but Rowan stops me. We need to talk, Hazel, he exclaims, looking almost desperate. I gaze at his long fingers on my arm before pulling away from him with a frown. With a deep sigh, I nod my head and he tells me to follow him. Walking down the long halls, we end up in the school garden where a bunch of roses lay and bees are at work. Rowan sits down at a wooden bench. I go to sit down, but he pulls me quickly onto his lap. I stare into his different colored eyes and he runs his fingers through my mane of hair. I gulp. Looking at his plump lips, I notice the loving smile on his face. Let me go, I demand, trying to sound stern. I quite like having you in my arms, he whispers, cupping my rosy cheeks. I wiggle out of his grasp and decide to stand, keeping a safe distance between us. He frowns before talking. Hazel, what I'm about to say may sound unfamiliar to you, he starts off, and I nod, waiting for him to continue. My Hazel, you have become so breathtakingly beautiful. He grabs one of my hands, resting it upon his face. I try to pull my hand away, but his hold is rather tight. Hazel, darling, you may not remember, but we were childhood friends once upon a time, he explains. Confused, I just listen, not knowing what to say. You don't remember, and that's fine, but we were inseparable until My family had to move away. My father had gotten a new job in the next town, and I could no longer be with you. But when I had finally got older, I was able to track you down and find you. I could do nothing but stare at him dumbfounded. If what he is saying is true, why is it that I don't remember him? Frustrated, I run a hand through my hair roughly. None of this is making any sense. Hazel, my love, you think you are alone, but you are not. I'm here to help you and devote my life to you. He pulls me close, and I just notice that he is now standing up. I look up at him and he gently rubs his nose against mine. I've never been one to show affection, so I awkwardly stand there before pulling away. I know what you are, Hazel. What if I told you that I am also a white witch? His hands form a blue orb of fire. Recap. I am also a white witch. His hands form a blue orb of fire. I stand there in disbelief as Rowan moves the blue orb through his fingers. He gently grabs my hand and places the ball of fire into my palms. The heat sends an electric wave through my body. My hand starts to glow, and I create my own ball of fire. It's as if we are connected. The blue and orange mix together, creating a beautiful hue. Rowan smiles at me, sending a cool wave of emotions through my body. I can feel his energy. It's weird now that I know Rowan possessed the same power as me. Suddenly, our fire burns out and I step back from him. My body aches, and I'm confused on how to feel. Let me help you, Hazel. I can teach you how to control it. He places kisses on my cheeks. I see adoration in his eyes. I stare at him in deep thought, fighting an internal battle in my head. Fine, I will allow you to help me control my powers. I finally give in, and I see the joy light up his face. He pushes my hair back and instantly back away. I'm afraid he will see the dark markings on my ears. I know once he sees them, he will become disgusted. I hate my scars. I know you lost your hearing, but that does not stop me from loving you. Grabbing me softly, he nuzzles his face into my hair. Be my lover. Become my queen. Wow, you lucky bitch. I envy you. My best friend Delphine gasped as I tell her what happened earlier between me and Rowan. Delphine, come on. We both know I can't possibly be in a relationship, I state, rolling my eyes at her foolishness. Well, if you don't want him, I'll take him, she smirks greedily, licking her lips. I send her a disgust look, but after listening to her, a certain emotion runs through me. Why does it anger me at the thought of Rowan being with someone else? Shaking my head, I push my emotions to the side. We are chatting in our little secret hideout. Well, actually, it's a place behind the library. No one ever goes back here. Feeling stressed, I pick at my fingernails. Be my lover. Become my queen. Those were the words Rowan whispered to me, and I was completely lost. I was letting him train me, but that was all we were doing. I have no interest in dating. Growing tired, I say goodbye to Delphine and make my way to my dorm. Today has been interesting, to say the least, but at least now I could finally train. The halls were empty, probably because everyone was in class, but I was too tired to attend class. Looking down the hall, I see my older brother Orion making out with some werewolf chick. I almost puked watching the scene, so I quickly walked over and tugged on his ear, walking away from the girl. Ow, what the fuck, Hazel? He wails. I roll my eyes. Stop fucking around. I have to tell you something important, so quit acting like a baby, I tell him sternly. He continues to rub his ear and I clear my throat. So I talked to Rowan today. Orion interrupts me. You did what? I frown, telling him to keep his voice down. He asked to train me, so I said yes, I explain, but the anger on his face does not go away. Hazel, I could have trained you. Rowan is not to be trusted, he stresses, running a hand through his almost black hair. Well, it's my decision, and I think it's for the best anyway. You know how sometimes I just lose it? Orion just nods, finally understating. Why does he want to train you anyways? The douchebag is probably up to no good, he says through clenched teeth. I softly smile at him. Sometimes my brother could be a little overprotective. Why is it your concern whether I train her or not? If you have a problem, tell me. Turning towards the voice, Rowan stands there in all his glory with an unimpressed smirk. Oh boy, Rowan's poov. Now, I want you to breathe deeply and forget where you are. I watch as Hazel breathes in and out. I would be lying if I said I didn't find her breathtaking in this moment. It's a Saturday, and I decided to start our training. Telling her I was a white witch as well was the best decision I ever made. I get to be close to her, although I could tell she did not fully trust me. Yet. I circle around her figure as I watch her breathe deeply. Her brown hair was wild and curly. It was as if she was teasing me. My fingers were aching to bring her closer to my large form. Could you stop staring at me, you doofus, and tell me what to do next? She demanded, her gold eyes filled with a fire as she looked at me. She was a firecracker. Now, I want you to start a small flame. Nothing big, I watch as she concentrates before opening up her small palm. After a few seconds, a small white flame flickers in her palm and I see her smile. "Yes, I did it! Wow, this is awesome!" she exclaims with excitement. I watch as she does a happy dance and I smile. She always was goofy, but I was proud of her, my queen. "You did good, Hazel. Now, I would like you to put the flame out." I see the worry start on her face and I smile. I know she could do this. She is very capable. Concentration etched on her face once again. But it almost seemed like the flame was enlarging. I quickly tell Hazel to stop. Using my strength, I force her fire to get smaller before I unlit the fire myself. "Shit, I knew it was too good to be true," she mutters. I grab her form into my arms. An overwhelming feeling of warmth overtakes my body. "Hazel, darling, this is only our first training session. Please, do not beat yourself up," I soothe her. I look into her eyes, cupping her face with my hands. I knew one day we would find each other again. "Why is it your eyes are different colors?" she whispers, tracing my face. She doesn't remember. My jaw ticks in frustration. "I am blind in my left eye," I say candidly, watching for her reaction. She seems surprised, and I gently stroke her cheek. "How?" she whispers. It's a rather long story that I won't be getting into today. Talking about my past wasn't something I was fond of. I knew that in time, when I was ready, I would let her know the truth. Our parents had put us together to be playmates due to our disabilities, as my father would call it. We both were different, but we were far from being weak. I knew from the moment I placed eyes on her, she was destined to be mine. I don't care that without her hearing aids she would be in complete silence to me. She was all I ever needed. I knew I wanted her to be my queen, no matter what. Hazel pulls away out of my arms once again, and my body aches for her in yearning. I should get going," she stutters. I bid her goodbye, watching her petite form walk away. She didn't know that someday I would take over my father's business. She didn't know that with everything in me, I loved her even when we were kids. From this day forward, I vowed to protect her from danger. I just needed her to trust me. Hazel. POV. Unfortunately, today is Parent Day, a day where students' parents can drive up to the school to spy on us. Rolling my eyes, I pull my pink sweater closer to me. We are waiting outside in the yard. Of course, this high school is filthy rich, so of course we have a fountain squirting water out. Orion is next to me flirting with an elf. I decide to have a little fun. "You know that she's actually a guy, right?" I whisper playfully into his ear. Orion grimaces in disgust and immediately backs away from the pink-haired elf. "You know what, I actually have a girlfriend, so," Orion says, but the girl does not understand. She starts to chase Orion all around the yard, and me, well, I'm dying in laughter. I was crying so hard, I didn't even see Rowan's large figure now standing next to me. "What's so funny, beautiful?" he questions, and I sober up before sending him a frown. "Why do I feel like you were always stalking me? Leave me be," I snap at him. I see the hurt on his face and I start to feel bad, which never happens. "If that is your wish, I will leave you be until we have training," he states with a serious look. I watch him walk away when suddenly a stunning black-haired girl walks up to him. They are talking and she must have said something funny because he is laughing. I clench my fist. Why should I care who he talks to? I don't have feelings for him anyway. "Astrid, darling, Mommy is here!" My eyes go wide as I see my brown-haired mother racing towards me. "My beautiful daughter, why are you so skinny? Come, Mommy will feed you." I try to cover my face with my hair to hide my embarrassment. My mother tugs my arm back into the school building. "Mother, will you please relax?" But she wasn't having any of it, tugging my arm. "Mother, where are we going? You don't even know where everything is." "Well then show me. Where is the eating area? This place is horrible, Hazel baby." I watch my mother with a small smile. I couldn't agree with her more about this school being terrible. I take the lead, pulling my mother into the large cafeteria. We sit at a table and my mother runs a hand through my wild hair. "You look all grown up, baby," she whispers, bringing me into a hug. Pushing my hair back, she massages my ears, claiming that they needed some love. "Where is that doofus brother of yours?" she asks, and I laugh. "He's somewhere around here, flirting," I smirk as my mother shakes her head. Just then, my brother and father walk through the cafeteria doors. I stand up immediately, waiting for my father to greet me. I face my father, but all he does is nod at me, always giving the cold shoulder. I haven't seen my father for 2 months, and all he does is nod at me. I plop back down into the seat next to my mother, feeling disappointed. I catch my mother watching me closely. "He loves you. Don't ever doubt that," my mother whispers into my ear. Rolling my eyes, I zone out as my mother and father ask Orion how he's been. Suddenly, Rowan comes storming into the cafeteria in rage. A blond, middle-aged man yells his name, and I know it must be his father. I watch as Cohen's muscles clench in anger. I wonder what's got him so riled up. It seems like you have a crush, my mother claims, looking quiet smitten. Pff, of course not. Plus, I don't date, I say, trying to be convincing, but my mother sees right through it. My eyes focus onto Rowan once again, and as if sensing someone watching him, he stares back at me. His expression instantly turns soft, and I'm left with a smile. I quickly drop my gaze, feeling embarrassed that I got caught. Hazel, have you been using your powers wisely? My father's voice is stern, and I face him. Yes, father, I've done what you told me. Oh, and I'm fine, thanks for asking, I reply back sarcastically. I am your father. It would be wise to remember that, he snaps at me. My fists burn in anger, and all I want to do is walk away. My mother places a soft hand onto my clenched fist, trying to soothe away my distress. Remember, Hazel, a deaf vampire is weak and nothing but a nuisance. If I hear any more complaints about your behavior, I will take away your powers. My father snaps, threatening me, and I have had enough. I stand up, facing my father. I may be deaf, but I am no coward, and I'll prove it. I sneer at my father before storming out the cafeteria. Hazel, Pav. 2 days later. It's been 2 days since all of the parents left and went back home. After I stormed out of the cafeteria, I avoided speaking to my father, who tried to act as if nothing had transpired. Running a brush through my hair, my mind suddenly thinks about Rowan. He is different, and he is really nice, but I don't think we would be a good match. I think my mother secretly wants us to be together. She kept on gushing the other day about how handsome he is. Rolling my eyes, I put on my combat boots and make my way out the door. Today was rather gloomy. It had been raining since the early morning, and my mood has gone down. Walking down the hallways, I see it's busy as usual as students walk to their next class. I spot Rowan with the same dark-haired girl, and they are chatting it up. He seems smitten with her, and something within me boils at the thought. Why should I care who he converses with? We are not together. I pick up the pace, trying to go unnoticed, but Rowan sees me right away. He wears a big smile, and there's something in his eyes. Adoration. No, it can't be. Hazel, darling, where are you headed to? He asks me, taking hold of my arm. I stare at the girl next to him who wears a smirk on her face. I just decided I don't like her. I'm on my way to class, but that's none of your business, I snap at him roughly, pulling my arm out of his hold. I can see I hurt him, but I don't make any move to apologize. Well then, have a good day, beautiful, he whispers before grabbing the girl's arm and walking away. My anger only increases, and I'm annoyed that Rowan has made me feel this way. I stomp all the way to class, feeling like a fire is erupting within me. How was I supposed to know he had a twin brother? They look the same, Delphine complains, telling me about her new boy toy story. Sitting at a lunch table, me and my friends just chill out eating our lunch. So, Hazel got any boy toys that we should know about? My friend Phoebe asked, wiggling her eyebrows. Of course not. Anyway, you guys know that I don't have time for dating anyways. Yeah, whatever keeps you awake at night, Phoebe says, flipping her platinum blonde hair. Rolling my eyes, I stuff my mouth with some animal blood, feeling it run through my veins. I secretly watch Rowan at his table with a bunch of other rich, spoiled students. Again, I see the black-haired girl by his side, and I want nothing more than to curse Rowan out. Hello, Earth to Hazel. I turn my head towards an annoyed Delphine. Were you even listening to me? She whines, and I roll my eyes. Of course I'm listening to you. Now what did you say? I tease. We continue on chatting until the bell rings. They also have flashing lights for us deaf people. Believe it or not, I'm not the only deaf person in this school. Why my dad doesn't want people to know, I'll never understand. Walking towards my next class, I wave goodbye to Delphine and Phoebe. I'm dreading going to class. All I want to do is sleep. I let out a huge yawn. I spot my brother Orion peeking through one of the classroom doors. Deciding to scare him, I tiptoe up behind him and gently blow on his neck. What the? Hazel, you know I hate when you do that, he screeches, and I laugh. Why are you being a creep and staring into classrooms? I ask, giggling. I was not. Okay, maybe I was being a little creepy, but I'm not telling you because I know how you are, he exclaims. Rolling my eyes, I peek into the classroom and see a class in session. But what really has me stunned? I see Rowan and the black-haired girl holding hands. Hazel, Pav. I try to hold in my anger, but it's getting difficult every second. Hey sis, are you okay? You look a little red, Orion asks, looking concerned. I take a deep breath before answering. Yeah, I'm just peachy, I say through clenched teeth. I realize that the class that Rowan is sitting in holding hands with that dark-haired girl is my class. So with all my strength, I roll back my shoulders, hold my head high, and open the classroom door. Of course, everyone in the room looks at me as if I'm some alien. "Late again, Miss Sterling," Mr. Beaumont says in annoyance. I shrug my shoulders as I scour the place for a seat. There's an open seat next to Rowan, and of course he's trying to grab my attention. "Hazel, beautiful, sit here next to me," he whispers with a hopeful look. I want to laugh at his stupidity. I shoot him the middle finger before sitting down in the front corner. For the whole class period, I could feel him trying to dig his way into my head, pleading for me to talk to him and to give him my time, but I would just ignore him. These were the perks of having powers and being a white witch. When class had finished, I quickly hopped from my seat, racing towards the door. Of course, Rowan was a lot faster, and he grabbed my arm, pulling me towards his tall frame. "Why on earth have you been ignoring me? Can't you see that it hurts me when you don't talk to me?" he exclaims in a too calm voice. Just then, I notice the dark-haired girl sending me a gentle smile, but I don't return one back. "Get your hands off me, Rowan," I snap at him forcefully, pulling my body away from him. "Why are you being like this? What is the problem, my love?" He asks me so sweetly that for a second he had me under his charm, but I quickly snap out of it. "Leave me alone, Rowan, and I no longer want you to train me so," I say in anger. I must have hit a nerve because the next thing I know, his eyes turn black. "I will train you whether you like it or not. You are mine." Shaking my head, I run the other way. I spot a dark corner in the hallway, using my powers to hide my form and scent. I've never seen Rowan so angry. I watch as Rowan scours the hallways looking for me. His anger now pushed aside, and now he looks desperate. "Hazel, my love, I am so sorry I lashed out at you. Please, let me show you how much you mean to me," he begs, running a hand through his messy blonde hair. "Leave her for now. We will look for her later, big brother." I watch the dark-haired girl pull him away down the hallway. That's his sister. What the hell is wrong with me? I can't even believe that I thought they were... You know what? I'm not going to think about that. I check to make sure the coast is clear, and I remove the invisible bubble around my form. Not even all the way out, hands grab me and pull me into a chest. "I knew I could feel you here. You can't fool me, darling," Rowan whispers, stroking my hair lovingly. The dark-haired girl eyes us closely, and she sends me a gentle smile. "I think she is the one, big brother," she exclaims excitedly. I knew she was, from the moment I laid eyes on her. She is perfect. He cups my face and stares deeply into my eyes. Snapping out of it, I step back from the siblings who are smiling as if they won the lottery. "Look, both of you are psycho. I will not be joining you for your little project," I snap at them. They share a laugh before the girl with the dark hair speaks. "I'm sorry for not introducing myself. My name is Briar." Her tiny hand is outstretched, and I continue to stare at it until she pulls it away. "Hazel, darling, don't be rude to your sister-in-law," Rowan scolds me with a playful frown. "Sister-in-law? Are you crazy?" I scream at them. They both look at each other. "Well, we are engaged, soon to be married. Were you not informed of the arrangement?" Rowan asked, confused. The next thing I know, I faint, and the world goes black. Hazel Pav. I stir awake, feeling the soft cushion of a couch. My eyes open up to two smushed faces peering down at me. "What the?" I jump back so quick I hit my head across the couch. "My love, are you all right? Let me see it," I hear Cohen's soft voice. Rowan tries to grab my head, but I immediately jump back. "Do not touch me. Don't you dare get any closer," I threaten, giving him the meanest glare. He stops reaching for me and stares at me intently. Meanwhile, his crazy sister is smiling at me in the corner. "Hazel, please sit. We will explain what is going on. Please, relax and breathe," Briar says, speaking softly. I take a deep breath before crossing my arms. "Okay, well, start talking. I don't have all day for this crap," I mutter, rubbing my head as it was still sore. "Well, your father has arranged for us to be married in a couple of months. He believes that if we marry, it will make us look good," Rowan says, still staring at me in adoration. "How is me marrying you going to make us look good? That's just absurd," I screech out loud. My father has really gone insane, and he needs serious help. "Well, darling, since my father runs a business, I, of course, will be taking over, but..." He trails off, looking down at the ground. "But what? Spit it out already," I snap at him, feeling quite impatient. "He needs a wife to be able to take over the family business and name, and of course him already knowing you since you guys were little, the match is perfect," Briar answers excitedly. I stare at the two siblings in shock before I burst out laughing. "Okay guys, this was an awesome prank. But seriously, you are crazy if you think I'm going through with this," I state, sobering up. "I'm afraid, darling, that you do not have a choice in the matter." "Excuse me, but I actually do, and I said I'm not marrying you, and that's final," I state, not backing down. With one last look, I storm out of the room I was in, heading to the main office. I could hear Rowan and Briar calling me to come back, but I ignored them. I was going to get to the bottom of this. Arriving at the council room, I bust open through the doors. "I want to speak to my father now," I demand, as the school council leaders stare at me in shock. "What do you mean I have to go through with this?" I stare at my unamused father, who had arrived at my request when I told the council I needed to speak with him. "Hazel, you are no longer a little girl. It's time to settle down," my father states with a frown. I groan in frustration, rubbing my throbbing ears. I have been constantly wearing my hearing aids. I needed a break. I decide to take them off, relishing in the silence. I watch my father's lips as he speaks. "I'm doing this for your own good. You'll never be able to defend yourself. What if people find out about your problem?" my father says. I don't say anything, wishing the ground would swallow me up whole in this moment. I never knew my father thought of me as a problem. But then again, he wasn't always so hostile. "Father, I may be a problem to you, but I deserve the right to choose my future and actually fall in love," I say, my voice suddenly feeling dry. My father eyes me as I continue. "I'm sorry, Father, if I disappointed you, but I refuse to marry someone I do not love," I say, genuinely. I know for sure that I'm not in love with Rowan, but that doesn't mean I don't feel the sparks every time we touch. "Then you leave me no choice." A strong force rips into my body and I start to feel dizzy. "What are you—" I don't get to finish as my body starts to burn up, a pulling sensation erupting inside me. "I have put your powers on hold until you agree to the marriage. If not, then you can say goodbye to this special power," my father snarls. Feeling weak, I fall onto my knees, collapsing in front of my father. The last thing I see is my father's face, showing little emotion. Hazel P. O. V. I woke up feeling a soft mattress underneath me. I stretched my body. My muscles felt very sore. I quickly sat up and realized I was in my dorm room. It all came back to me. My father had locked away my powers. Taking deep breaths, I decided to really see if my powers were actually gone. Lifting a hand, I pointed to a glass of water that was sitting on my desk. Snapping my fingers, I couldn't feel anything. I continued snapping my fingers, but the glass of water didn't move. I didn't even feel any sparks or energy within my body, as I can usually feel it when I'm about to use my powers. Feeling scared, I raced out of my room, my brown hair looking absolutely ridiculous. There was no time to look good. I needed my powers. I raced to my brother's dorm, my fist pounding on his door. "Orion, open up! I have urgent news!" I screamed, banging my fists. But the door never opened. It was then that I noticed I forgot to put my hearing aids back on. "Shit," I mutter. I closed my eyes, feeling a vibration beneath my feet. I felt footsteps approaching, and I knew someone was coming. I turned around to see Briar walking down the hallway. "Hazel, come with me quickly!" She grabbed onto my arm, pulling me into an empty room. The classroom was old, and the school never used it. I peeked around the room, noticing brown crates were by the wall. "Careful, this room is special," Briar says, and I watch her close her eyes for a few seconds. Feeling anxious, I watch Briar as her eyes pop open. Instead of being gold, they were a dark purple color. "Briar, are you—" I didn't get to finish as she began to glow and her fingers turned into large claws. She grew fangs that were large and dangerous, and her hair grew longer. Her hair turned white, and she looked at me with a gentle smile. "Do not fear me. I am part of Briar. I have a message for you, my dear," she says softly, using her claws to brush my hair back. I gulp deeply, watching as she eyes every move I make. "What are you?" I mutter, my form slightly shaking. It was then that I wished I had my powers. "I know that your powers are locked away, my dear, but there is something you must know." Her voice was urgent. She grabbed my chin, making me look into her vivid purple eyes. "Trust no one, not even the ones you hold close to your heart. There are people who wish to hurt you and tear you apart. You must not rest until it has fallen asleep once again. You have to find it and make sure it never wakes again, for the future depends on it. Make no mistakes. He watches every move, every breath that you take. It whispers to him, 'Be quick and make sure he is put to rest.'" Briar's body starts to shake, her bones cracking every which way, her body taking its natural state, the creature gone, as if it never was here. Briar's little body drops to the floor, and I quickly catch her before she slams into the floor. "Briar, wake up, I don't understand." I shake her hard, trying to wake her, but she seems out of it. What was that creature? And what did she mean that it watches me? I was freaking out. I hold on to Briar's body, supporting her head. I decide that the best thing would be to bring her to the nurse, so I try to support her body on my arm, slowly walking out the strange room. I slowly walked to the nurse's office, trying to hold up an unconscious Briar. Now waiting for the elevator, it finally opens and reveals a frazzled Rowan, who notices the predicament I am in. "What's going on?" Hazel, POV. We were sitting in the nurse's office. Briar was still unconscious, and a very anxious Rowan kept pacing about. "Rowan, could you relax? Briar's going to be fine," I say with a big sigh, trying to get him to relax. He finally stops staring at me with a piercing gaze. His face then goes soft, and he runs his large hand through his pale blonde hair. "You are right, sweetheart. I don't know what I would do without you," he whispers with a forced smile. I can feel the heat rise up to my cheeks as I blush. Rowan now stares at his unconscious sister, who is lying on the tiny bed. "It all happened so quickly," I muttered under my breath, now watching Briar, who looked like she was sleeping. "This isn't anything new. Maybe for you, but I've grown up with this," Rowan starts, his voice hard with anger. "But what exactly happened? Who was that creature?" I screeched, my voice cracking. "Her name is Layla. She has always been a part of Briar," he starts, and I listen intently to their history. Layla started appearing when Briar was 5 years old. I was still a young child myself, but my parents noticed that she began acting strange. Layla made her do terrible things, very gruesome things that you couldn't imagine, he tells me seriously. I take a huge gulp, feeling really nervous all of a sudden. My inhumane father tried to go rid of Layla by doing a exorcism on Briar when she was only 5 years old, Rowan says, his cracking word despair. I get up from my seat and wrap my arms around his large form. "You don't have to finish. No, I want you to know," he interrupts, hugging me back, tightly resting his head on mine. I know that right now, he needs a friend. As Briar got older, Layla was only getting stronger and even more deadly. It got so bad that she tried to kill me when I was only 8 years old, he whispers, gently stroking my hair. I rub his back, offering some sort of comfort. "I'm so sorry, Rowan. I can't even imagine going through something like that," I say. "You didn't know, my love. Having you right here in this moment brings me comfort," he says, bringing my chin up to his gaze. He stares into my eyes, and all I see is love. I gulp deeply as he rests his forehead against mine, his eyes closed as he breathes slowly. Just then we hear a groan, and I jump back from Rowan. Briar slowly opens her eyes. Rowan rushes to her side. "Briar, are you all right?" he says, feeling her forehead to make sure she didn't have a fever. "Yes, I'm all right, big brother. Did Layla appear again?" she asked him, looking exhausted. Rowan nods his head as he pours her a cup of water that's on the desk. Briar gulps the water quickly and asks for a second cup. Her brother quickly pours another for her. As if just noticing me, Briar sends me a smile, her arm reached out towards me. I quickly walk to her and she pulls me into a hug. "I'm glad you were able to calm Rowan. Usually he would be freaking out by now," she laughs gently, hugging me. "Yeah, I know, I'm awesome," I gloat. Rowan sends me a look of pride. Briar lets go of me, and she suddenly turns serious. "Layla was different this time. Did you talk to her?" she asked me, now looking at me. "Well, yeah, she basically gave me some sort of warning," I say, shrugging my shoulders. "That's weird. Layla never just wants to talk. She's always angry and wants to kill," Rowan says deeply, now looking at Briar. "Maybe she is gay," I joke, trying to lighten the mood. It seems to work as Briar giggles and Rowan smiles. "That could be, but I doubt it," Briar says, giggling. I smile, feeling happy that I was able to make her laugh in this strange situation. "In all seriousness, this is weird. Layla must be connected to you in some way," Briar says. "Or she could be your guardian angel." A voice pops up and we all turn to see the nurse walk in. "Briar, dear, how are you feeling?" the nurse says, taking her temperature now. "I'm okay, Agnes. No need to worry. It was just another one of my episodes," she exclaims, sipping on her cup of water. "Wait, the nurse knows," I whisper to Rowan, feeling confused. "Of course, Briar comes here often, so I was informed of her condition," Agnes responds, giving Briar an orange drink. I scrunch up my nose. "So, what do you mean I have some guardian angel?" I asked, still confused. "Well, I've met Layla, of course, and when I tried to speak to her, she went ballistic. I asked her why she was so angry, and she said she needed to protect someone from danger." Agnes trails off deep in thought. "So you're saying that Layla is basically my protector?" I asked. These siblings were definitely insane. "That can't be. I can protect Hazel myself just fine," Rowan says in disbelief. I roll my eyes at his arrogance. "Now that I think about it, Layla wasn't talking about just anyone," Agnes responds, a light bulb clicking in her head. "Well then who was she talking about?" Briar asked, impatient. It's quiet before Agnes continues. "Layla kept saying she was looking for her family. To be more specific, her sister Hazel." Pove. A week has passed since the incident with Briar, and things have been rather strange. I noticed that Rowan and Briar have been rather distant. Well, Rowan is usually more sweet and cozy, but now he sends me smiles, but they are no longer genuine. I was currently sprawled out on my bed scrolling through Instagram. Deciding I needed some fresh air, I roll over standing up. I pull my brown mane into a ponytail before sliding on my hearing aids. I put on my combat boots and make my way outside. The hallways are quiet, and not a lot of students are around as it was rather late. I sit down on a nearby bench and gaze at the scenery. I start to feel a little homesick as I think about home and my cozy and empty room. The moon is out and shines brightly in the midnight sky. A gentle breeze passes by and my hair flaps wildly around my face. I recall the past events of the strange siblings. Somehow or some way, me and Layla are connected. We might even be sisters. I don't know how that could be possible, but I'm lost in my thoughts until large hands cover my eyes. "Guess who, sweetheart?" A voice whispers near my ear, and I instantly recognize Cohen's cologne. "Rowan, stop playing games, I know it's you," I snap at him, and he lightly chuckles. He joins me on the bench, his large body now sitting next to me. He wraps his arms around my waist and pulls me closer. "I've missed you," he mumbles as he sniffs my hair. I awkwardly clear my throat and send him a glare. "Well, whose fault is it that you've practically been ignoring me all week?" I pull myself out of his arms and cross my arms. "Darling, I'm sorry. I've been stressed, trying to help Briar." "I promise to make time for you, my love," he says softly, pushing a lock of my hair back. He gazes at me in adoration, and I roll my eyes as I slap his hand. "I never said I cared. We aren't together, so don't go getting any ideas," I sneer. Rowan doesn't answer as he suddenly seems distracted, gazing at nothing in particular. "Rowan, how is Briar doing?" I asked, concerned. Rowan sighs deeply. "Briar is fine. It seems that Layla has been rather persistent this past week. She demands to see this person she so desperately wants to protect. But it's hard to understand her. She becomes so violent that the only way to calm her is to drug her. I worry that Briar's little body won't be able to take much more." I watch as Rowan runs a hand through his hair. I start to see the bags underneath his eyes, and I suddenly feel guilty. Why don't I try to talk to her? I mean, after all, when I talked to her, she didn't attack me, I say, wanting desperately to help. "Hazel, darling, I won't risk you getting hurt. You don't know what Layla is capable of," Rowan argues back, and I roll my eyes. "Just let me try. You can even stand guard just in case she, rips my head off." I exaggerate, watching Rowan start to think about it. "Fine, but I am standing beside you just in case. I won't risk you getting hurt. I wouldn't be able to live with myself," he mutters softly, grabbing my hand. I gently squeeze his hand in reassurance. "Don't worry, Rowan, I'll be fine. Plus, I'm practically a black belt in karate," I joke, getting up to show him some combat moves. He chuckles, watching me as I fight the air as if it's attacking me. "Hazel, you truly are something else, and I wouldn't have it any other way." The next morning, I meet Rowan by the nurse's office. "Okay, here's the plan. We go in and speak to Layla. We need to stay 5 meters away from her as she tends to lash out," he says seriously. I roll my eyes, nodding my head. "Just open the door already." I push him aside and step inside the familiar nurse's office. Apparently, Layla had been ranting and raving for a while now. "I told you to leave me alone or else I will slit your fucking throat." I hear Azar's deep voice and a very scared Agnes trying to calm her. When she notices us, she sighs in relief. "Thank God you guys are here. Rowan, you try and console her," Agnes says, rushing out of the room. Layla glances at me and Rowan, and she does something unexpected. She walks towards me and pulls me into a hug. "Sister dear, how I have missed you." "I am here now," Layla whispers, stroking my dark hair. I pull back and stare at the white-haired girl with striking, vivid eyes that had a mix of purple and blue. I stare at her as I am taken aback by her striking features. "Have you been treated well, sister? Who do I have kill? What is wrong with your ears?" Layla screeches in horror before forcefully pulling out my hearing aids. Rowan pulls me back into him as Layla continues to examine my hearing aids. Layla notices Rowan protecting me, and her mood instantly changes. "Step away from my sister, you fool." Hazel Pav. "Can everyone just calm the hell down? Layla, please put down the scissors." I try to gain everyone's attention. Rowan continues to protect me, pushing me behind him. "I told you to step away from my sister," she screams, throwing the scissors at Rowan's head. He dodges it like an expert. It's a good thing I'm short. "Layla, look, I'm fine. Rowan won't hurt me," I plead, pushing Rowan aside forcefully to show her I am fine. She quickly grabs me and hugs me tight. "Sister, we must get home quickly." She starts to walk towards the door, but I tug my arm back. "No, Layla, you need to tell me who you are, and we aren't sisters," I demand. I can see I angered her as she clenches her hands into fists. After a few minutes, she takes a deep breath before answering. Fine, I will tell you who I am. After that, we must go home, she demands, and I nod my head while crossing my fingers behind my back. We all sit on some chairs and wait for Layla to start. To begin, my name is Layla. I am from planet Zymo, and I have come to rescue my sister, she states, and we wait for her to continue. When me and my sister were younger, one day we went out to play. I decided we should play Catch the Goose, which was our favorite game. I could see Layla struggling as she remembered the memory, so I grabbed her hand, squeezing it to give her some comfort. So I told my sister to go hide and I would find her, and she was always good at hiding, Layla chuckles. But I knew something was wrong when 5 hours had passed and I couldn't find her anywhere. So I quickly ran home and told Mother that you had gone missing, and we reported it to the officials. They claimed that there was nothing that could be done yet, as we had to wait for you to be missing a whole day. A month later, they found your body brutally attacked, she finishes in despair. I am shocked, and I face Rowan, who also is shocked just as I am. So how come you were in Briar's body? What happened to yours? I asked, curious. After your death, I was in a rage. I wanted revenge for whoever slaughtered my sister, she answers, the fire in her eyes apparent as she recalls the memory. I was no longer myself, so I was killed with a lethal injection. Of course, the council was stupid to think that would kill me. I was reincarnated. But instead of having my own body, I had to share. I stare at Layla in silence and watch as Rowan becomes angry. I'm going to need you to leave my sister's body or I will go to extreme measures to rid of you, he sneers at her. Layla smirks. You think it's easy to go rid of me? Well, think again. I am not leaving until my sister is safely home, she snaps back, baring her sharp teeth. Okay, stop. This is insane. If I was killed, then how is it that I'm alive once again? I ask, demanding for answers. Layla breathes gently before answering. You were reincarnated as well, but you came back as an infant. You were born into a different family, she concludes. My jaw hangs open until I burst out laughing. I don't know what you're talking about, but that is not possible, and you need some help, I say, chuckling. This isn't a joking matter. We must get home quickly before you are discovered, she rushes out. I'm not going anywhere with you, and you need to leave Briar alone, I snapped at her, and I see the hurt on her face. Rowan grabs my hand, giving me some comfort. If you come with me, I'll tell you how you became deaf. Recap. If you come with me, I'll tell you how you became deaf. It was quiet around the room. No one said anything. Rowan was now glaring at Layla, and Layla was watching my every move. How could she possibly tell me how I became deaf? My parents always told me it was because I became very ill as a baby. Clearing my throat, I face Layla. There's no need to tell me anything. I was simply a sick child. That is why I can no longer hear, I say confidently. A smirk is plastered on Layla's face, and I want to smack it off. Is that really what they told you, and you believed them, sister dear? She sneers. I glare at her, clenching my fist. Yes, I believe them because they are my fucking parents, and you are no sister of mine, I snap at her, but all she does is laugh. That's what they want you to believe. Can't believe they would lie to their own daughter, she scoffs. Having enough of this nonsense, I grab Rowan's arm and storm out the room, leaving a flabbergasting Layla alone in the room. We walk back silently to my dorm. Are you all right, my love? Rowan asked, gazing at me with worry. I shrugged my shoulders, not wanting to talk. All I wanted was a well-deserved nap at this point. Finally, we stop in front of my door, and I continue to look anywhere but Rowan. You must be exhausted. I will go back. Try not to think of too much about what she said. You know exactly who you are, Rowan whispers, dropping a soft kiss on my forehead. I watch his tall body walk back the way we came. I open the door to my room and hop on my full-sized bed. I stare up at my ceiling for a while, contemplating everything that has happened today. My mother told me that I became sick when I was really little. She said that they didn't expect for me to live. So why did I feel like something was missing? I always believed what my parents told me because they never gave me a reason to question them. Feeling frustrated, I brush back my mane of hair furiously. I thought I knew my upbringing, but now that Layla questions it, I don't know what to think. I get up from my bed and walk to my bathroom to rinse my face. Turning the water on, I pat some cold water onto my pale face. I stop and gaze at the girl in the mirror. She had gold eyes and light brown hair that sometimes looked red. I pulled my hair up to look at my ears. A dark circle surrounded them, and for some reason, I had come to the realization. I always hated being deaf because I was always treated as some delicate flower, especially my father, who in this moment in time resented me more than ever before. He was the one who sent me away for schooling because he didn't want people figuring out that his only daughter had been corrupted. I can't help but think if only I were normal, maybe, just maybe, my father wouldn't resent me as much. Feeling tired, I pull my hair back down. I peel away my school uniform and put on some sweatpants with a plain t-shirt. I jump back into bed, pulling the covers all the way up to my chin. It's not long before darkness consumes me. Make sure those files get to where they need to go. I can't afford any mishaps. Yes, sir, I'll deliver these right away. I nod my head for him to take his leave and go back to finishing my work. I worked for hours on end every day. Getting frustrated, I run a hand through my hair. I decide to take a rest as I have been working all day. I peer at the picture on my desk that I keep at all times. A picture of my daughter when she was just an infant. Hazel was special the moment she came into this God-forsaken world. Me and Beatrice knew we had to do everything we could to protect her. That is why I arranged a marriage for her. I pull a cigar out of my pocket, lighting it up. I stare at the ball of fire in the glass case that held Astrid's powers. I really didn't want to take away her powers, but knowing Hazel, she is highly stubborn, just like her mother. I decide that while she continues to be stubborn, why not try out these powers on myself? Opening the case, I grab the ball of fire, feeling the energy course through my body. The energy so overwhelming, I let a roar of pain. Feeling the overwhelming power of destruction, Hazel, POV. Would you take this seriously? You always think everything is a joke, I yelled at my brother Orion. It's been a couple of weeks since I've spoken to Rowan and Briar, and of course Layla. I was currently in the library with my brother. I'm sorry, Hazel, but from what you just told me, you need psychiatric help, he jokes. I glare at him hard. I'm telling you the truth. You should have been there anyway, I mutter. Well, once Rowan returns to school, I'll talk to him about this. What was her name again? He joked. I smack him across the back of his head. Ouch! Seriously, Hazel, you hit like a guy, he whines. Rolling my eyes, I sit back in the red beanbag chair. Rowan and Briar haven't been in school for a week now, and for some reason, Rowan didn't tell her he would be leaving. Of course it bothered me a little, but don't get the wrong idea. I don't have time for a relationship. I've literally been spending so much time with Rowan, I don't even hang out with my friends anymore. Waving goodbye to my brother Orion, I decide to visit my best friend Delphine. I walk to her dorm room and bang on the door. Wait a fucking minute, damn! She screams back, annoyed. I chuckle behind the door, hearing her loud footsteps. The door busted wide open and I see Delphine's short body. Hey girl, come in before Owen sees us. She quickly pulls me into her room. If there is one thing I know about Delphine, is that she is a messy person, and she literally does not care. Clothes, shoes, makeup, you name it. It is literally everywhere that I can't even see the floor. I hop onto her bed, which is on her side of the room. So what's up with you and Owen? I say, laying down on her bed. Let's just say I let him hit it, and now he wants some more of my goodies, she says, flicking her long blonde hair behind her shoulder while sending me a wink. Ew, okay, I seriously did not need to know that. Anyway, I have some crazy shit to tell you, so come sit, I say, patting the space on her bed next to me. She flops wildly onto the bed, looking like a fish out of water. Okay, bitch, I'm ready for the tea, she says, now sitting up. I catch her up on all the events that have happened the past week with Briar and Rowan, and of course the ballistic Layla. Whoa, you lucky bitch, getting more action than me, she exclaims, poking my side. Whatever, those two are insane. And I think it's best to stay far away from them, I say, picking at my nails. No, the hell we are not. I want to meet this girl. She sounds like fun. Maybe she'll hang out with us. Delphine gets up and does a little jiggle. Delphine, what are you doing? And no, we are not going anywhere near them. They are trouble. Delphine sends me a smirk. Oh, Hazel, Trouble is my middle name. So when are they coming back to school? I shrug my shoulders, feeling pissed off once again. He didn't even tell me he was leaving, the nerve of him, and he's been gone for a whole week. Delphine watches me with a perfect brow raised. Sounds like someone has a crush, she declares, wiggling her brows. Pfft, as if. I want nothing to do with him or his psycho sister, I say, fooling my arms. Yeah, sure, and I'm a freaking angel. Cut the crap, Hazel. You totally are into Rowan, whether you admit it or not, she concludes. We chill out in her room until we grow hungry. Damn, I'm starving. Let's hope they have something edible this time, Delphine says, bouncing up and down in the lunch line. I shake my head at her giddiness and glance around the cafeteria. It's been a while since I've actually been in the cafeteria. I've literally been eating out of vending machines since a pack of blood fills me up anyway. Just then, I notice the familiar blonde hair and tall body by the entrance. I tap Delphine's arm. Look, it seems he's back in school, I whisper. Damn, he looks good. I might just take him for myself, she jokes, licking her lips. I roll my eyes at her, feeling strangely upset at her words. I watch Rowan speak to some chick who looks to be an elf. Feeling a little insecure, I push a lock of my hair back and turn back into the line. Girl, who is that chick trying to snatch your man? Want me to handle her? Delphine growls, fur already starting to grow on her hands. Calm down, werewolf. He isn't my man, so he can talk to whoever he wants, I say, grabbing a pack of blood. Delphine grabs a whole load of food, and we decide to grab a table by a window. He's not your man yet, but he will be, she says, smirking, stuffing her face with pizza. I send her a disgusted look. Just then, I see two figures approaching our table. Rowan and his mystery chick. Hazel, my love, I've missed you so much. Rowan reaches for my hand. I automatically pull it away. Yeah, it's nice to see you too, a week later, I muttered angrily. I'd like you to meet Ayla, he says, sending me a hurt look. The elf chick puts her hand out in front of me. Lovely to meet you. Her voice was rather low. I shake her hand. This is my best friend Delphine, I say. Delphine looks at her hand and goes back to eating her food. I shake my head, trying my best to hide my laugh. Ayla is here to help you with your training. I brought her here as a mentor for you, Rowan says. I let out a laugh. Yeah, you must be insane if you think I'm letting some elf help me, I say, laughing. Delphine sends a giant smirk to Ayla. Well, if you change your mind, I will be here for a couple of months. Do come to me once you have thought it over correctly, Ayla says arrogantly. Having had enough of the conversation, I wave them away. Watching as their forms leave the cafeteria, my mood just turned even more bitter. Hazel Pove. Why are you being like this, my love? You've been giving me the silent treatment ever since I came back, Rowan whines. I continue to run my brush through my thick mane of hair. Currently, we were in my dorm. How did Rowan get in, you may be asking? The jerk used his stupid powers. It's been almost a month since my father took away my powers, and to say I've been depressed is an understatement. My body feels so empty without it, and I crave the heat that arises within my body, feeling the overwhelming energy. My love, please hear me out. I left so quickly due to Briar's health deteriorating, and she needed to go see a real doctor, he explains, now standing behind me. Is Briar doing okay now? I ask in a whisper, finally speaking. Yes, she's doing much better. She should be back in school soon, he exclaims, and I can see the happy glint in his eyes from me finally talking again. Rowan suddenly takes away my brush and gently starts to brush my hair. Your hair is as beautiful as you, my love. So captivating, he whispers. Loving the gentle strokes, I close my eyes in a gentle bliss. Just then, a sudden thought comes into my mind. Rowan, why did you bring that elf here? I ask, the bitterness on my tongue just thinking about that wench. I've already told you, my love. I invited her here to assist you in your studies of your abilities, he says, now massaging my shoulders. But I thought you were going to train me, I say with a pout. Does my beautiful Hazel want me to train her so badly? He coos, rubbing his nose against mine. I feel the heat start to rush up to my cheeks from us being so close to each other. We gaze into each other's eyes, and I stare at the striking difference of the two colored eyes. Rowan, how is it that you have become blind in one eye? I asked, curious. It took him some time to answer before he sighed. When I was younger, Layla had just started appearing, and she was very destructive. I could see how hard it was for him to answer, so I gently rubbed his arm, giving him some comfort. Let's just say that I pissed her off more than I should have, and she struck me in the eye with her venom. I was shocked hearing how Layla was so violent from the very beginning. I let Rowan hold me in his arms, knowing right now he needed some support. We stayed like that for a while, and to be honest, I felt safe and protected. In this moment, it felt good. Over here, I'm open, some werewolf boy screams across the court. Meanwhile, me and Delphine were sitting out for gym class. It's what we do best. I seriously don't know how we are passing this class. Hey, what color should I paint my toenails? Delphine asked, examining her fingernails. I don't know, you already did every color, I say truthfully. Delphine rolls her eyes and continues to inspect her nails while I watch the people on the court play a game of basketball. I suddenly notice the elf girl Ayla also playing. I roll my eyes as she scores a point for her team. She's not even that good, I muttered under my breath. I then notice Rowan playing with his white muscle t-shirt and his large muscles clench as he dribbles the ball. You're drooling again, Delphine says with a smirk. I am not. I'm just watching the game, I say, crossing my arms. Yeah, sure, you can keep telling yourself that, but sooner or later you'll be in bed with the hottest guy in this shit-fest school. Delphine nudges my arm, wiggling her eyebrows. I let out a giggle at her childish acts. Going back to watching the game, I notice Rowan and Ayla having a very heated discussion. If only I had my powers right now, I would definitely eavesdrop in this moment. What do you think they are talking about? Delphine asked, also noticing the heated discussion between the two. I have no clue, but from the looks of it, I think it may be serious, I whisper to her. We continue to watch the pair until Rowan rushes out of the gym. I catch Ayla's eye and she sends an ass-eating smirk my way. I really despise that elf. Hazel Pav. So your dad is coming to visit you? What's the problem again? Delphine says, her voice muffled from all the food in her mouth. My father never visits me willingly. He probably wants something from me, I say, contemplating. Or maybe he wants to see his daughter. I'm sure everything is fine, Delphine says, patting my hand. It's lunchtime, which is funny how me and Delphine meet up always at lunch. Rowan left once again, only this time he called me to let me know. I received urgent news from back home. I shall be back in a couple of days. I miss you dearly, my love. I remember his sweet words from our conversation the other day. Something strange happens within my body as I start to feel a warm, fuzzy feeling. I tune back to reality, listening to Delphine rant and rave about some guy who is obsessed with her. I mean, he even has a picture of me in his wallet. I'm thinking about getting a restraining order, Delphine growls out, eating some fries. I shake my head in agreement. We chat some more until a figure stops at our table. We look up to see Ayla, the stupid, annoying elf, a smirk still on her face. You ladies mind if I sit here? She asked, already pulling out a chair to sit. I know this bitch did not sit down, Delphine mutters with a frown. I try to hold back my laughter as Delphine eats her food with a frown. I heard that. Anyway, I did not come over here to start problems. I just wanted to inform you on some lethal information, she says seriously. Me and Delphine look at each other before waiting for Ayla to continue. Not here. The information I have is very top secret. Meet me at dawn near the garden. We will discuss then, she whispers before getting up and swiftly walking away. Are you seriously thinking about meeting up with that chick? I mean, she seems a little off to me, Delphine rants, watching the elf walk away. There is only one way to find out. Damn, it's so dark I can barely see shit, Delphine complains. Now I'm starting to regret asking her to come with me. Hush, before we get caught, I snapped at her, before quietly tiptoeing to the school garden. We make our way outside, easily spotting the white-haired elf sitting on a bench. Finally, I thought you would have stood me up. Oh, and you brought your sidekick along, Ayla says, now standing up with a smirk. Keep talking and you'll end up into a nice elf stew, Delphine growls, hair already growing on her hands. Down doggy, I wouldn't want to have to scold you, she taunts back. I step in between the two. All right, that's enough. Just tell me what you came to tell me so we can go back to bed, I all but snap at the elf. Whatever, on to more important matters. It's about your father, she starts with hesitation. What about my father? I asked, confused. I mean, I know my father is well known due to his title, but how did Ayla know him? He seems to be on some sort of rampage. His aura is very different. I don't know him very well, but he used to work with my father. Apparently, my father noticed something different about him, something very dark. I take in everything Ayla told me, feeling shocked. Knowing my father, he was very reserved. He liked to be alone often and was always working. Well, that is weird, but I'm sure it's nothing. In fact, my father is coming to visit me tomorrow afternoon. I'll see if I notice anything weird, I finish, not worrying about anything. You don't understand. Your father possess... Delphine finally speaks up, interrupting Ayla. Stop putting shit into her head about her father. Ayla, shocked, steps back, a frown on her face. Fine. But when he starts causing havoc around our world, do not come to me for help, the elf snaps, disappearing in seconds. What the hell just happened? Ethan's Pove. Sir, the carriage is ready for your departure, one of my guards informed me. Excellent, I praise him, walking down the stairs, my body feeling the new energy coursing through my veins. I felt invincible. Darling, are you off to meet Hazel now? My beautiful wife greets me with a kiss. Yes, but before that, I'm due for a meeting with the council. Do not wait up for me tonight. I will be back late, I say, giving her one last peck before making my way to the awaiting carriage. Looks like it's time for a little family reunion. Ethan's Pove. Sir, it seems that we have an flat. We will fix it right away. I stare at the nervous guard, my patience wearing thin. I do not have all day. Be quick, I snap, feeling very aggravated. The guard nods, proceeding to take care of the matter. Feeling anxious, I step out of the carriage for a breath of fresh air. I gaze upon the woods we are traveling through. Lifting a hand, I crush each living thing to pieces, watching a squirrel turn lifeless at my fingertips. I grab the little rascal, biting into its seeping flesh. Delicious. It's about time I had my feed. Not feeling satisfied enough, I throw the leftover eaten bones of the squirrel, gazing at my guards. I sniff the air, smelling their delicate blood. With force, I grab onto a young guard. Sir, we are... He doesn't finish before I bite into his neck. Drinking the dark liquid, I hungrily slurp away until his body is no more and he slumps onto the ground. I wipe my mouth with a smirk. Gentlemen, I do hope this is a fair warning as to why I don't like my time being wasted. I advise you to quicken your pace. The gullible guards scramble to finish fixing the flat. I laugh at the lot of them with a snap of my fingers. I'll have them following my demands. Now understanding the importance of these powers, feeling the overwhelming power. It was a good thing taking these away from my daughter, although she isn't biologically mine. She was an easy switch when my beloved wife gave birth to a stillborn baby. What she doesn't know won't hurt her. Hazel, POV. Why aren't you jumping for joy? Hello, today Rowan is coming back to school. Have a little enthusiasm, Delphine whines. We are in the library trying to study for once, while the rest of the girl population of the school waits out front. It's not a big deal. I have more important things to worry about, I say to Delphine. She rolls her eyes. Sure you do, she mutters. I go back to attempting to study, while Delphine tries to munch on some chips quietly in the library. These chips are so good but crunchy, she says, exaggerating. I let out a small giggle. I love the girl to bits, but sometimes I question how we even became friends. Suddenly, I feel the floor starting to vibrate under my feet. Curious, I get up and walk to the library door. Just like that first day, a stampede of girls rush to the front of the school. Rowan must be back. I contemplate on whether I should go meet him or wait until I see him around later. What are you waiting for? Just go, Delphine says, giving me a little shove out the door. Rolling my eyes, I walk slowly towards the front of the school, shoving my way through people. Finally reaching the front, I let out a huff. They act like wild animals, I muttered angrily. I watch as Rowan talks to his driver, then he catches my eye. Instantly, his face lights up, a huge smile gracing his face. He practically yanks me into his arms, wrapping his large arms around my waist. I've missed you so much, love, he growls into my hair, stroking my head lovingly. Feeling embarrassed at the number of people staring at us, I squirm out of his arms. I clear my throat. It's nice to see you back, I say with little emotion as possible. Rowan stares at me with so much intensity, I start to fidget under his gaze. Oh, Rowan, you are back! We have some business to discuss, the white-haired elf says, appearing out of nowhere. Yes, of course, just let me settle in first. Hazel, darling, I brought you a gift, he exclaims excitedly. I'm shocked. This is the first time someone other than my mother that someone has given me anything. Rowan picks up his suitcase and grabs a hold of my hand, pulling me back inside the school. The crowd of girls follows us to his dorm until he finally has had enough. That's enough. Shouldn't you girls be studying? I'd appreciate it if you all would get lost. And with that, he opens his room door, pulling us inside quickly. He jumps onto his bed. Thank goodness. I thought they would chase us forever, he whines, now sitting up. I send him a nervous smile, gazing around his room. It's quite neat for a guy. Suddenly, I'm being pulled down, sitting on Rowan's lap. You don't have to be nervous, you know. I would never do anything to make you feel uncomfortable, he whispers, now cuddling me. Oh, I almost forgot about your gift, he says, pulling his suitcase beside us. I watch him open it, taking out a long velvet case. He gently places it into my hands. I hope you like it. I immediately thought of you when I saw it, he says, a huge smile on his face. Taking a huge gulp, I open the box to reveal a beautiful rose necklace. I almost cry at its beauty as it shines brightly despite the darkness in the room. Rowan, this is beautiful. Thank you. I wrap my arms around him, giving him a huge hug. It is my pleasure. I want you to be happy, he says, rubbing his nose against mine. I turn my body and lift my hair so he can attach it for me. Once it's on, I continue to stare at it in amazement. Suddenly, there's a knock on his door. I get off his lap so he can answer it, Ayla now greeting him. Is Hazel here? Her father is waiting for her outside, she says, peeking at me behind Rowan. I stand up straight, trying to collect myself. Well, here goes nothing. To read the full version of this book, click the link. Hazel Pav. Sweat begins to pour down my face, making my hair stick to my face. I'm always a nervous wreck whenever I'm in the presence of my father. Rowan is beside me, his face calm and poised, holding so much confidence. In this moment, I wish I were him. I've always struggled standing up to my father. We finally reach the doors of an office, my father waiting on the other side. I place my hand on the gold doorknob, but before I can even open it, Rowan stops me. It's okay if you don't want me to come in with you, but if you need me, I'll be out here waiting for you. He gently pushes a lock of my hair back. I'll be fine. Besides, he is my father. Nothing to worry about, I conclude, before opening the door. I find my father sitting on a brown sofa, his loyal guards standing beside him. Oh, look, my daughter has finally decided to show up, my father sneers. He seems rather different. His complexion is paler, making his appearance seem darker. His aura is what throws me off. What is this immense power radiating off of him? So, my daughter, how have your studies been going? You always were a slacker, my father insults me. Feeling pissed, I clench my hands into fists. Why are you here, father? I know for certain it's not to discuss about my studies, I say, cutting right to the chase. Eager, aren't we? Well, I just wanted to inform you that the engagement is processed. Whether you have made up your mind, it matters not, and you will marry Rowan. I stare at my father in disbelief. Well then, father, You have wasted your time. I won't be marrying anyone no time soon. Sorry to disappoint you, I say with newfound confidence. I can see the anger piercing through his eyes, but there was still something off about him. And then a light bulb went off in my head. I demand my powers back. They belong to me, anyway, and I've gone too long without them. I cross my arms, trying to stand my ground. My father lets out a cackle, as if I just said the most hilarious thing ever. Now, my darling daughter, do you really think I would hand it over to you? As far as I see it, they're mine now. I stare at him in disbelief. You can't do that. Those are my powers. I lunge at my father in anger, but his stupid guards push me back. No need for reckless behavior, darling. You wouldn't want to get on my bad side. I'm seething at this point. I so badly want to tear him to shreds, father or not. You have gone too far. You have treated me like crap all my life, but this just takes the icing on the cake. I sneer at him, physically shaking. I've had enough of your behavior. In this conversation, you are dismissed, boys. Show her out. He snaps at his guards. This isn't over, father. One way or another, I will have my powers back, and you'll regret the day you ever took it from me. I stop my way out, pulling my arms away from the guards. I know where the hell I'm going. The guards step back into the room, leaving me outside with a shocked Rowan. So I'm gonna guess that it didn't go well at all. I shrug my shoulders. I may have pissed him off, and I have no clue how I'm gonna get my powers back. I admit feeling rather defeated. Wait, you lost your powers? Crap, I may have forgotten to mention this to him. Calm down, you were barely in school anyway, so how could I have told you? I watch as he clenches his jaw. Whether I'm here or not, you should have told me anything concerning you is important to me. I hear the hurt in his voice. Look, I understand that you want to help, and that's fine, but I don't have to tell you everything. It's not like we're together, so it shouldn't matter. I know I sound like a jerk, but it's the truth. You're 100% right. We are nothing more than acquaintances. I flinch back, the hostility clear in his voice. With that being said, how are you going to get my powers back? I ask, trying to clear the tense atmosphere. Rowan clears his throat, his face clear of emotion. Looks like we're going to have to ask for help from a certain elf. P. I know you dislike Ayla, but right now we need her help, Rowan says, sitting across from me. We are in the library waiting for Ayla to arrive, as I am in an urgent situation. I roll my eyes, crossing my arms. Yeah, but I don't see why we can't ask someone else for help, I say bitterly. Hazel, your situation is very unique. We need all the help we can get, Rowan says sternly. Finally, Ayla arrives wearing an all-black suit, her white hair pulled back into a low ponytail. Finally, she decides to grace us with her presence, I mutter, already feeling irritated. Ayla rolls her eyes and turns towards Rowan. So, what is this urgent matter that I had to suddenly leave my combat training? Rowan gestures for her to sit down next to him on the brown sofa. Once Ayla sits down, he dives right in. Alright, so we have a situation. Hazel here somehow got her powers removed by her father. What I'm trying to understand is, how is that possible? He isn't a white witch. I watch Ayla's reaction. It's emotionless until she finally speaks. So, the perfect Hazel finally messes up and now realizes she does actually need my help. My left eye starts to twitch from annoyance. Anyway, this is weird. How can a regular vampire steal powers from a white witch? The elf mutters in contemplation. That's exactly what I was wondering. It's impossible, Rowan says, chiming in. It all happened so fast, really. It felt really painful, like a really strong force twisting my insides, I say, finally speaking. Unless, my only explanation would be he had help. And not just from anyone, Ayla declares, her voice getting suspiciously lower. Well, spit it out then. Who could he have gotten help from? I spat impatiently. The elf takes a deep gulp before continuing. If my findings are correct, then the people who helped him are black witches. The next day. So let me get this straight. Your delusional father set up an arranged marriage to the ever-so-handsome Rowan. You said no, and he decided to strip away your powers? I nod my head. I swear, your life is crazy, Delphine says, munching on some peanut butter-covered carrots. New diet, I ask, pointing to the carrots. Well, I'm trying to, but to be honest, I keep messing up, and this is like my 5th retry, she says, spitting carrot bits everywhere. I scrunch my face in disgust. I just hate asking that annoying elf for help. It's like her face annoys the crap out of me, I whine, laying flat against Delphine's bed. I don't like her either. She rubs me the wrong way. But enough about her. How are you going to get your powers back? Delphine questions, turning to me on the bed. Ari, I don't have a clue. I'm stuck. I'll probably never get them back, and then I'll be a regular vampire, I say with a pout. Well, to be honest, you aren't just some regular vampire. You are freaking Hazel Sterling, the death vampire, she says with confidence, trying to pull me up off the bed. You are right. No matter what, I'll do whatever it takes to get my powers back, I say with newfound confidence. That's the spirit, and she pulls me into a hug. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. Delphine rushes to open it, revealing a frazzled Ayla. Hazel, meet me in the library. I've come up with a plan. She rushes out before dashing down the hall. Well, it's now or never, Delphine says, pulling my body down the hallway. Hazel, Puv, arriving at the library, me and Delphine plop down onto one of the sofas. We will wait for Rowan to arrive and then we can begin, Ayla says, writing scribbles on a whiteboard. He needs to hurry it up. A girl has things to do. More importantly, guys to screw, Delphine says, wiggling her eyebrows at me. I let out a giggle watching Ayla frown at us. I'm sorry, but who invited you? She asks sarcastically. I roll my eyes, already knowing this won't end well. I go wherever I please, and if something is concerning my best friend, best believe I'm going to be her support system, she snaps at the elf. I watch Delphine and Ayla glare at each other across the room. Finally, Rowan arrives, his hair in disarray and panting heavily. Sorry guys, I was stuck in a meeting, he pants out, plopping down next to me. Took you long enough, I mutter, flipping my dark hair over my shoulder. Wait, shouldn't your brother be here as well? Delphine questions, now looking at me. Yeah, I don't have the time to look for him. He's probably out screwing some fairy, I say, waving my hand. With that said, we turn our attention to Ayla. Alright, so let's get down to business. We know that your father had help from black witches, otherwise how else could he have stolen your powers so quickly? I nod my head in agreement. Now, the only way to be able to get them back is, well, we would need a black witch for that, unfortunately, the elf says in pity. Delphine raises her hand. Why do we specifically need a black witch's help? Why can't a white witch do the same? She asked. I tap her arm excitedly. Wow, Delphine, that's like the first smart idea I ever heard from. Delphine gloats in pride. Yeah, I know, I'm a genius. We share a laugh. Ayla glancing at us as if we are insane. It does sound like a splendid idea, but it's not that easy. Taking someone's powers requires skill. Once removed, it can be quite hard to return it, especially since your father has already absorbed it into his body, Ayla informs, deep in contemplation. So, why don't we try using a white witch first? I turn my body to Rowan. Cohen, you're a white witch yourself. Do you think you could give it a try? I beg, using my cute pouty face. I mean, I could try, my love, but there's no guarantee it even working, he says hesitantly. All right, well, let's try, I say, standing up, pulling his large body up. You guys need to stand across each other, and then Rowan, using all your might, push your energy into her body, Ayla says, watching us intensively. I stand tall as Rowan closes his eyes, the energy pumping through his veins. For a brief moment, I too feel that energy force its way into my body, as if it wants to stay. But it doesn't. When Rowan is done, he drops his arms by his sides, now seeming exhausted. Did it work, my love? He pants, both of his eyes glowing vividly. I decide to give it a try, lifting a hand towards a book on a table. Using some of the energy I was given, I force it to move the book. But nothing happens. Welp, now what? Delphine says, breaking the silence. Ayla now stands next to me. So, do you feel different? I shake my head in disappointment. Looks like we're going to have to move to Plan B, the elf declares. I nod my head. Okay, so what's Plan B? Delphine raises her hand again before speaking. So, I just wanted to know who put the elf in charge. Just curious, she jokes. First off, you weren't part of this, so I would appreciate it if you would back off, Ayla sneers. Or what? What you gonna do about it, Elfie? Delphine taunts back. Once again, I interrupt their bickering. Guys, I think we should be focusing more on figuring out how to get my powers back. I agree, which brings me to my next point. I have a fellow friend who knows a black witch. I'm gonna give her a call, but for now, we will wait, Ayla says, erasing the whiteboard. Welp, let's go get some food now, Delphine says, pulling my arm. We just ate like 2 hours ago, I say, watching an exhausted Rowan now sleeping on the brown sofa. Wait, will Rowan be all right? I know that took a lot out of him, I mumbled. Do not worry, he just needs to regain his energy. I will tell him you were concerned of his well-being once he is awake, Ayla says, smirking at me. Pfft, whatever. Delphine, let's go. Quickly, we run out to the library to the cafeteria once again.